Hey, it's Brent Conley with Team Conley Sells AZ.com. Hey, I've been in the real estate business for about 20 years. My dad was a real estate agent. My grandparents were real estate agents in California. I'm third generation real estate agent. So I'm excited to start doing some videos and introduce myself and our great team of professional real estate agents to help guide you when you're trying to purchase your home, whether it's your first home or multiple homes or investment property. We can help guide you. We've got a tremendous amount of experience to help educate you prior to purchasing your property. So I wanted to go over 10 things a home buyer should consider when purchasing your home. So let's get into it right now. Okay, number one, what is your budget? Your budget is so important. I try to make sure that this hits home in advance, and so people don't buy the most expensive home that they can potentially afford, but then they become house poor, right? They can't afford to fill the house with furniture. They can't afford to do the landscaping in the backyard. And then, they end up regretting that decision to purchase that home. So what I always do for the last 20 years is I just give you my honest opinion. Hey, you're qualified for this dollar amount. Okay, great. Let's go over your budget together, right? I'm on your side. I don't need another sale with an unhappy customer because you guys maxed out that budget because nobody told you, including your real estate agent. So with my team, we go over this. We make sure that you're purchasing something that you want, that you need, that you can afford, and that you're going to be happy with today and 5 years from now. Of course, I want you to be a customer for life, and many of our clients are. And I'm truly, excited to help them over and over again, and their friends and family, because we do the right thing for them, and that starts with a budget. So let's determine your budget and then stick to it. So we can talk to the loan officer. We can talk to them together, or you can do it individually, depending on how much information you want to give your real estate agent. But I will say this: I bought my first home when I was 21 years old in Mesa, Arizona. Okay, I didn't make a lot of money. I had some help with my dad with the down payment, and I went FHA financing. And then I rented to all my friends that became my roommates, and I was a landlord, right? All in one deal, which was pretty cool. They were making my house payment while I was enjoying building equity in my very first property at 21 years old. I wasn't in the real estate business back then. I waited 2 more years before I got into the real estate business at 23. That's when I got my real estate license and started this career path. Anyway, so let's go to the second thing on the list. Location. We're going to choose a great location. Now, we have this thing here in Arizona that is drive until you qualify. It's been around for 20 years since I've been in this business. And if we couldn't afford the property locally where they wanted to be, my clients, then we drive further out and further out and further out. And back then, if they wanted Gilbert, we would drive out to Queen Creek, or back then Santan Valley was Queen Creek, but we drive there. Or if I was representing them in Phoenix and they couldn't qualify for that home, then we drive out to Surprise and Goodyear and on the west side. So we cover the whole area. I'm very familiar with the entire valley, and I've sold a lot of property all over the valley. So we understand, but the drive to you qualify, there's good and bad with that. One, we can get more homes the further out we drive for less expensive. But it doesn't always serve you, because if we're going to add, with the traffic these days, if we're going to add 30, 45 minutes to your drive time, you know what? You may not want to purchase that property, and we might have to wait, to find something closer to work, closer to family, that is going to still serve all your needs, but it's going to cut down that extra 30, 45 minutes of drive time, since traffic is a concern with most of my clients today. So we're going to talk about location some more. and in depth. We want to make sure that you're by the schools that you want. We want to make sure if they're important to you. We want to make sure that if you're wanting public transportation, you're close to that. If you're wanting certain amenities, that you're within a certain amount of drive time to the amenities. And of course, your friends and family is like the number one reason why people are moving into certain neighborhoods, because they want to be closer to their friends and family. It's not always about money. A lot of times it's the convenience factors. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get on the phone and discuss your wants and needs. Remember, you're in the driving seat. It's all about you. Okay. The type of home, we want to decide whether we want a condo, whether we want a townhome, or a single family property. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that we're going to discuss. How big of a lot size do you want? Do you want to be really close to your neighbors? Like all these new constructions are building, these new builds are building these lot lines really close together. And so some of my clients are okay with that. Some of them aren't. We just have to really discuss what type of home it is and what kind of lifestyle that you want. Because when you purchase your property, I want you to make a long-term good decision for today, a year from now, 5 years from now. Because if you're not going to keep that property for at least a minimum of 5, 6, 7 years, we're going to also have a discussion. Is it the right time for you to purchase? Okay, because I really don't want to get a phone call 6 months later and say, Brent, I got to sell the property, because it's expensive to sell property. It's inconvenient on your part of having to prep the house and all of that stuff. So we're going to take that into consideration. And I'm an open book. I want to make sure that all of your needs are addressed up front so you don't end up making a mistake. I just won't sell you a property if it's not going to be good for you and your family. Okay, I'm okay with telling you the truth and telling you not to purchase, and I've done that for over 20 years. That's why I'm still in business. Okay, so the next thing, what size of home are you really comfortable with? Okay, so the bedroom count's one thing. You want a big, great room, or do you want a formal dining room? Do you want a huge bedroom? What does that look like? What's the size of home? Not just square footage, but floor plans and layouts. And those are really important for your style of living, because this is your domain. You're king and queen of your castle, and we want to make sure that you're 100% excited every single time you pull up to your property for the next 10 years. Okay, the next piece of it, you should always consider hiring a home inspector. Okay, now this seems kind of standard, but from time to time, I have clients that say, I don't want a home inspection. I'm in the construction industry. I'm in, my dad's going to come over, or, somebody, my brother's a construction guy, and he's going to come over and check the property. Well, that's all great. And I appreciate that. I've got family in the business as well, and they're perfectly capable of doing it. But we want a third party to inform us of the things that are obvious to us. And it's their job to specifically look for certain scenarios that our friends and family are not trained to do. So this is a very important topic. And if you're a first-time home buyer, you're absolutely going to get a home inspection, because it's in your best interest. I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face, and we're going to have a long discussion about that, because it protects you. Okay. The next piece I want to talk about is the financing options, right? So a lot of times when I get a phone call, Brent, I want to buy my first property, or Brent, I want to buy 2 or 3 properties as investments, and whatever the case may be, what are the best financing options? Now, I am licensed. I'm a licensed loan officer in Arizona. I've been educated with that. I don't do my own loans. I don't want to do the loans. I have the education so I can help inform my clients and our team in order to help position you better. Now, I've seen everything over the last 20 years. I've sold for the banks. I've sold, people's homes that they couldn't afford anymore. I've helped first-time home buyers and move-up buyers, and pretty much Every scenario is different, right? But I also will say some of them are the same. With that, with all the education I have, in order to help guide you with whatever loan products and programs are best for you. So FHA program could be best for you. A conventional program could be best for you. The down payment money that you have, maybe it can stretch further with one program versus another, and we can discuss that with the loan officer. Don't think that you're going to be on your own. I want to make sure that you are completely confident and comfortable with the financing options that you choose, and you have multiple options to choose from, and at least you'll be educated on those options. I think it's vitally important right now. Okay, so the next thing I wrote down is a resale value in the future. Okay, so now I don't sell a home that I wouldn't buy myself. So if you're working with my team as a buyer and one of my agents is out there showing you property, I specifically ask my agents, do not sell them a house or condo or townhome that we're going to regret selling you in the future. Because when you call us 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, we're still going to be in business selling property. And that is a phone call we never want to have, is like, why'd you sell this house to me? Because it backs to a toxic waste dump, right? That's never going to happen. I'm never going to sell you a house backing to a toxic waste dump, or a dump for that matter, right? I'm totally against that. I don't want to sell you a home backing to a freeway. I don't want to sell you a home that you're not informed about, that they're going to build a skyscraper. You know, these are all different things that you have to consider, and that's why you're hiring a real estate professional and a professional team like mine to make sure you're not making a mistake. And so we're very, very verbal about, hey, this is the reason why I would buy this. This is a reason why I would not buy this. And we're going to be very verbal about that. I'm not going to hide anything. Everything is on the up and up, because I will, and my team will, my professional real estate agents will find you the perfect property. And we're excited to do so. Remember, it's all in your best interest, and that's how we've been in business for over 20 years. Okay, so another big thing is, do you want to have an HOA, a homeowners association? Okay, so a lot of my clients don't want a HOA, and a lot of my clients do. So it's 50-50, right? And everybody's got different feelings of like, I don't ever want a letter because I left my trash can out for more than 4 hours, right? I don't want to have somebody because there's a weed growing out there. You know, all the HOAs have different rules, and we're going to discuss that in depth. If we find a great property that has minimal HOA rules, is that going to be acceptable to you? Remember, you're in the driving seat with all of this. Okay, now the next thing is closing costs. Now, we've got down payment programs when we talk to the lenders, or your preferred lender, however you want it to go with the financing, and the closing costs are additional to the down payment. And so with that, we've got to be prepared for that. So if it's a conventional loan and it's a 5% down payment, or if it's a 3.5% FHA loan, okay, we need to budget. This goes back to the budget, right? We're going to circle back to the top, and we're going to budget on how much money do we need in order to actually purchase this property. So we're going to need money for a home inspection. Depending on the square foot, it could go from $400 to $1,000, right? I had a multi-million-dollar sale that I think we spent, or my client spent, $1,500 or $1,600 on a home inspection for a huge property, and then 1,000 square feet is going to be $300 or $400. So we've got a budget to that. The closing cost. So we've got a down payment, 3.5 to 5% down, maybe 20% down if you're going conventional. And also closing costs on top of that. In today's market, sometimes we're able to ask the seller to pay the closing costs. Now, when we do that, let's just use a round number. It's a $500,000 home. and we want them to pay 1%, $5,000 towards your closing costs, okay? And we can negotiate that. Now, could we get the property at $495 with no concessions or no closing cost money contributed from the seller to you? Yes, we probably can. So I'm doing that math for you to help you understand that when we ask for closing costs, you're ultimately paying that because it's wrapped up in that sales price, right? So let's consider that. We're going to talk about that. So a lot of times these days, the appraisal, lenders want the appraisal paid by you, the buyer, upfront when they order the appraisal. Sometimes we can get that paid for by the seller within those closing costs, which is a big advantage as well. Other closing costs is the escrow and the title policies and stuff. We're going to go in depth to educate you on another video about all of that, but it's something to consider. Again, my name is Brent Conley. I'm excited to help you through the process of home ownership or move up buyer, or helping you as an investor purchase real estate in Arizona. Talk soon.